Let's try this out. So let's open up the terminal. For this review, of course, we're going to need React. We're going to be using the Giphy API to get GIFs, basically images. And what we want to implement is an app that lets you search for GIFs, as well as when you click on one GIF, takes you to that GIFs page, basically. So let's go. Okay. Core. This is unit 4. And maybe here. Let's create a folder. Actually, npx create React will do for us. Let's call this unit 4. So this will create a React app for us. In the meantime, let's open up the browser. Let's go to Giphy API. This is progressing on the side. Let's look at the documentation for this. Now, what I wanted to use this API is because it uses an API key. It needs an API key for you to be able to retrieve anything. So let's go API. Yeah, endpoints. Now, okay, I'm already logged in. You're gonna need to create an account if you don't have one. So let's see. Probably if you click on get started, you can click on create app or login. Right now I'm just gonna log in. Oh, that's my API key. Cool, so I'm logged in. This is developersgiphy.com/dashboard. This is gonna be my API key. Let's copy that. We're gonna need it to put in a file and then use it in a project. Let's look at XPI Explorer. Oh, this is cool. This lets us sort of try the API. And then these are the endpoints: search, translate, random, get by ID. Get by ID is comma separator. Now if this is the same stuff that's here. This is for the general documentation. Now here what you want to do is check how to use the API key. Somewhere in here must be set. Let's see. API store guide. Let's try here. Implement search, attribution, implement search endpoints. Let's try to search for API key. Cool, so since that in here, we'll need to use the API as a request parameter. Let's look at an example. I will assume this is a URL parameter. API key, yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is a very common way of using an API. You just pass it as a query parameter with the question mark, API underscore key equal, and then your actual key. So actually, let's try this out before we actually do the React app. In Postman, I think I was trying this yesterday. So let's see. Postman is opening on my second screen. Let's bring this up. So once you have an API, the first thing that you want to do is try it out with Postman. That's what Postman was created. So I want to do pmod just so you can see any shortcuts I'm pressing. Let's see. Oh, let's see. The shortcuts are not popping up. Anyway, so let's try this. Go API endpoints. Let's try this search endpoint. This one will let us search for GIFs, as the description says. So let's try it. Oh, so there's GIFs and stickers. For now, we're gonna focus on GIFs. So let's go here. Let's see what this needs. So our API key again is gonna need to be on a query string. So let's do API key. So you can see that store automatically type in here in the params. That's just because this is a Postman easier way to do it. So my API key, I think I still have it in my clipboard. Oh no. Let's see. This is my API key. Paste that there. Now the documentation is here. Let me reduce the zoom a little bit. That I can pass another query parameter with a search term basically, like cheeseburger is an example. So let's try that one as well. So here I'll say nq equal see cheeseburger. See enter. Let's see if this works. Cool, I think it worked. Right now we have a response with a key data, pagination meta. Okay, let's look at this data. Seems that we have a GIF here. Some URL, some information about the GIFs. Sexy burger GIF, that's the name. Let's look at it. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna try this URL. Let's try it here for Postman directly. Send. Cool, and that's this GIF. And we should have gotten a few of them. So it seems that you need to be very attentive to the response and explore it thoroughly. Here, it seems that the same GIF has different URLs you can use. I think the one we're going to use is the original. Actually, we're going to use the, I think, a small preview. There's one preview here. Maybe this one. Let's try this one. Right. So we're going to create a page where we search for a keyword and it shows a list of GIFs in this size, very small. And then when you click on one, it takes you to that GIFs page where you can see it enlarged and maybe upvote or downvote. Cool. So this is the URL. So let's use preview for the thumbnails and then original for the other. And let's look at some of the other GIFs. I'm gonna collapse this one. This seems to be another one. Let's try it out with the original URL. Let's take some time. And then this is the other GIF. And we can see that all of them are displaying cheeseburger or anything related with burger or cheese. Cool, so I think we have something. Great. So this is the network request that we're going to need to make in our React app to search, basically. What we're going to use is we're going to have a search form where the user types in something like cheeseburger. You hit enter, and it shows them thumbnails of all these GIFs that we get, and then the user will be able to click on one and go to that GIFs page. Cool. So I think we have a good start. We learned how to use the API key and how to search. Okay, so let's go to it. Let's go here to my terminal. Unit 4, that is finished installing. Now we know that we're gonna need Axios, so let's install that. npm I Axios. We're also gonna have a few routes, so let's use React router DOM. And I don't foresee any other dependencies. Cool. I think we can do, open a new tab here and open this with VS Code while that installs. Now VS Code is here. Here to the side. In the meantime, while that's installing, I always like to sort of clean these up, all the stuff that I don't care about. So I remove that, remove this, remove the logo SVG, remove lifestyle animation. Let's remove this. Index CSS, we could do all this is in app CSS. This one, app test, that. On app.js, let me clear this out. Stop importing the logo, that will remove. And then that's it. Let's run this out. We can start. So that it pops out underneath. So we have these two terminals there. Just checking that nothing broke with all that cleanup that we did. And if nothing broke, then we will be ready to go. Cool. Our app seems to be running. Now this rock and roll. So we're gonna need to have, let's say we want 3 routes, like slash, that's gonna be home. That's where the user is gonna search. Then we're gonna need another route to show just one specific GIF, and another one sort of extra slash about where we say what this app is about. So let's go on VS Code and let's start. So let's see, where should we start? I'd say let's do the routing first. So let's import. So if we're setting the routing, you always in index JS will need to wrap your app with browser router. So let's import browser router from React router DOM. And here we need to wrap this in the browser. Like that. Since I have auto formatting, it automatically formats for me. Cool, that's the first step. If we don't do that, then the routing is going to complain, saying you can't have a route outside of router. Cool. So we're gonna need a nav bar. Let's create a nav bar in a separate component, even though we could do it here because it's gonna have two links. But anyway, let's create a component. Components. Inside of components, let's create a nav bar. Info React. React. And then let's say this doesn't need to be a class, so let's do it as a function first. Nav bar. This component will not need props. Doesn't need anything from its parent component. Module.exports. Nav bar. what this is going to return can be a div or nav, and some links here. These links need to come from React Router DOM. Sometimes VS Code will import them automatically when you hit enter, like we did right here. Excuse me. So let's say 2, we're going 1 to go to home. Let's have this so that we have some spacing between them. And let's copy this. The other link will be to just about. And this is it. Let's say we wanted to have a logo. Let's create this maybe as a span. I don't think we're gonna have time to style it, but let's give it a class and logo. Let's say this is, I'm gonna call this app Jiffy. Cool, so we have a simple navbar. Let's import that here. VS Code sometimes is smart, and if I try to do navbar, didn't do it. Didn't import it automatically. That's because I'm not. Oh, this is the old way. Module.exports. In here, what we do is export default. I bet that's why VS Code couldn't pick it up. Let's try again. Yeah, so seeing it is importing. Let's try this out. Go to browser. Cool. Okay, we have something. We have a navbar. Home takes us back to the root, and about takes us to about. The single GIF page will not have a direct link. The thumbnails, once we search for GIFs, are the links that are going to take us to that route. Let's separate the Giphy from the link with one of these. Cool. These are our logo. Okay, we have this. Let's create now the actual route. Let's click the switch. How do I import that? And then a route. Nice. Auto imported. Let's do path. So we're gonna have a home. That's gonna be on this one. Routes are self-closing. Okay. Let's do a component. We'll need a home component that we haven't created yet. So let's go and create that. Components, home, JSX. Now, we could have all our state in app, but we could also have, home can have its own state. Now, since we're not gonna need to share state, we're not gonna put app state. We're gonna put the state in app, just because, for instance, home is this is gonna have a form to search for GIFs by keyword, and it's also gonna show a list of results of the search. Right. Now each result on that search is going to be a link that's going to take us to a different page, so sort of to a single GIF page, right? And there is no need here to share state. Um, that page will not need anything from home, for instance. Um, so let's go with that. Now here, this is gonna need state, so I'm gonna create it as a class home extends React component. Let's see, didn't auto import. Import React component. And export default before I forget. And then here, let's do a constructor. Oh, no props. Super. Oops. And let's do this state. Let's leave the state empty for now. And the obligatory render function. Now here, let's return a div. Let's do an intro. Let's call Giphy. Search for something like that as a header. And we said we're going to need a form. For now, before we do the form, let's try to import this. This will not be necessary. Let's import home here. This is a nice thing about VS Code, that when you're starting to type a path to import something, you could do slash, and then it shows you the folders. If you do /, it's going to show you the content of the current folder. If you do /, it shows you the content of the parent folder, which is what I want. And then, actually, since we're in app is outside, so let's do slash. When I go to components, the component that I want to import is home. There, VS Code gives me the suggestions. So we have that. Let's try this out. We should be seeing our header. Cool. Okay, let's get that about tag. Route path about component about. Let's create that component. We're gonna import from the same place. So let's, even though we haven't written it yet, let's do here about there. There's then here. This is just sort of, we have another route. It's a little bit more interesting than just having like one route. This route is just going to show what the app is about, and maybe who made it, and that's it. It's sort of so presentational only. So let's import React. React. And there's the const about. No need for props in here either. Return div. Say which one? Let's say it has 2 paragraphs. Giphy. This and search gifs and upvote or downvote. specific. Um, let's do another paragraph here. Something like made blob. Let's do. Oh, did I insert it? Oh. Cool, something like this. Let's then export thing about, and we have our about page. Let's also put that in to see. Let's go to app. And since we have already the import, that should automatically work. Emojis should be wrapped in span. Have our image. We can ignore this for now. Let's go to our page, home, about. Okay, so right now we have an about page that should display here, but we're not seeing it. That means we have something with our route that we have to fix. So remember that routes, and especially instead of a switch, will match only one, and the first one that matches. Because this one is starting with slash, this will also match slash about when we see home. For this we have two options. We can do exact here or lower that route to the bottom. Let's leave it at the top, just with the exact. So we see the home, about, and that works now. Cool. So in this home is where the main thing is going to happen. Let's go to that now, I think. Oh, okay. We're gonna have this other route that's gonna be GIF slash and the GIF ID. Let's do this for now. Let's sort of have a placeholder. This is the route that is going to show a specific GIF. So we haven't written that, therefore we get this error. Cannot find that component that doesn't exist yet. For now, I'm just going to copy the about page. C, Command V, change the name here, and let's do here like GIF. This is just as a placeholder, so that we can try this out. So we have our three basic routes: home slash GIF slash ID slash about. Go to the browser. This still works as usual. But now if we go to GIF slash 123, and I think that's like an ID. Oh, get. Get. We see our placeholder. This is where the single GIF is going to show up. Cool, so let's move on to having a form here, and then some search results once we get some. For that is that we're going to use the API. Where am I? In here. I'm going to close this a little bit. Sorry about the noise. So back here. So in home. So this is where we're going to do the form and the search results. We're going to need a form, of course, a search input, or the user types in what they want to search, and a button to submit that search. So let's start with the form. So input text. This is gonna need like the pattern that I hope now you're familiar with. We're gonna set the value. We're gonna have an event listener that listens for the change event. We want to probably have a placeholder. Something like search. And so on. Cool. So let's add the event listener later. We're gonna change input. This is gonna be submit. This could also just be a button. Then by default is submit. Cool. Then we're gonna have a div here where we're gonna put some search results. Now let's call this search results area. Give me one quick second. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. This is the search results area. Let's see what we have in the screen. You know what? Let's put this here to the side. Cool, we have something. Cool, this is refreshing. So let's start by maybe let's add the event listeners for the input. So I'm going to create a piece of state here called search term. It's going to start with an empty string. Now we're going to create a handle search term equal function that receives the event, and then we're going to say this.setState. This is the function that is going to listen for changes on the input text to keep track of it. Let's see. The first thing we want to set is the search term, and we set that equal to target that value. And here, so this line is going to become long, and then this. And we're going to say on change equal this does handle search term, and we also need to set the value explicitly. Search term. Now let's destructure the search term here. Search term equal state. And let's try this out. So I'm gonna open here developer tools. We're gonna go to components here. What I want to do is inspect the state for this component. Home. We have this state. And I want to check just if the event listener is working correctly. Works. Let's see if I clear it, it also works. And I think we have it correctly. Cool. Now let's handle the submit. So handle submit. Let's move to the one above, so the listener as well. And this one, what we want to do is prevent default. For now, let's do console log about to search gives for. And this here, let's destructure the search term. We need the search term here. With this search term and our API key, we're going to make a request to search in the API. So we'll do the handle submit and also attach it here to the form on submit equal handle this that submit. Let's try this out. So let's try G. Enter. Page is not refreshing. That's the first good thing. Let's see the console. About search for cheese, burger. Alex. Nice. So here there's now import access to start making our requests. From access. And then we're going to use access here to make that kind of request. So try catch just let response equal access.get, and we're going to need a URL here. So let's do something like this. Oh, and since this is an asynchronous operation, we need to await, as well as turn this in here to an async function. Now we don't have URL. Now let's do something like URL here. Let's do backticks. So let's look back at the URL, the test that we did here on Postman. So this is the URL. Now we need to include our API key and a queue parameter for cheeseburger. So what I'm going to do is, this is the sort of root of the URL. I'm going to take that. I think that's HTTPS. It's just that word, not see. And this probably defaults to HTTPS. Let's see, let's use it like that. And now we can add HTTPS at the beginning. Now, so let's do that like this. Since we're also going to need those query parameters, I'm going to put them here in a separate URL forms. And we don't want to hardcode our API key in our code. In fact, we don't want this API key to ever make it to GitHub, for instance, because then other developers will steal it and just use it. And this one is not a high risk because I don't think Giphy will charge you if you go over your limits or anything like that. But it's just generally good practice. Never upload any secrets to GitHub. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to copy this key. I'm going to create a file on my source folder. And I like to call this secrets.js. And here I'm going to do const API key equal paste our API key here, and then just export this. Export default, just as you would export a component API key. Now the next step is add it to the Git ignore so that it doesn't make it to GitHub. Here we just say sequence. We want to ignore that from our version control from Git. Suggest. You can see that now it's like grayed out in here. All the other stuff that Git is keep track of is green. Cool. So, and now we can import this. So home, let's also import our API key. Import API key from secrets. Also, since we're in the home, we need to go back to the parent folder, secrets, like that. And now here then, note that we need to use the key in this way. So I'm going to, and these are all query parameters. So what I'm going to do is here, all query parameters always go after the question mark. Also, if you look in the documentation for Axios, you can see another way in which you can specify query parameters. That's a little bit more elegant than what I'm doing here. So let's do this API key equal. Now I need to plug in here my API key that comes from that variable that I imported at the top. Generally, secrets and stuff that's never going to change, we put it as capital, like a constant, like that. Doesn't really matter. That's just sort of a standard. Now the other thing is the queue for the search. So to add a query parameter, we need to do ampersand queue equal. Now here we're going to plug in our search term. And lastly, we just need to plug the params in our URL at the end of our URL, like that. And let's see, let's do console.log res.data to see if we have something working. Right here. Let's search for hello. Oops, we got a problem. It says get to this URL was not possible, not found. So you can see here that it's trying to make the network request to the URL of our app, basic one. But we actually wanted to go out to api-giphy.com. This is because we didn't specify a protocol here. So the browsers, if I do this in the browser or like in Postman, see, I don't need to say HTTPS : or anything like that, just because Postman automatically knows that our app is slightly different. We doesn't know that. We're going to need to do that ourselves. So let's put it. I'm sure it's HTTPS. Most are HTTPS nowadays. Let's see if we could find this. single HTTP or HTTP post request? It seems that maybe we could use both, or rather any. Schema definition. Let's see, this is API Explorer. Oh, we can see an example here. It's HTTPS. So this is what we're missing. Let's put this back to the side. Go to our code, HTTPS column/. Cool. So let's see that. Search for hello. Cool, we got some data. So it seems that under key data, we have 25, presumably, GIFs. Data type, all of them says GIF. This is what a GIF looks like. It has a title, for instance. It has some images. This is the same thing we saw in Postman. These are all the same GIF, just sort of in different formats. So from here we said we're going to use the preview to display. So that's going to be data at whatever index we're going to need to actual loop. Images.preview. Wait, preview? I don't see preview having like a URL. Preview GIF, that's the one. We're going to use this URL in an image tab. Preview GIF. Let's see, all of them have that? I think so. Preview GIF, yep. Cool, so we have our data. Now, this data, very common pattern in React, is just get some data, you save it to the state. So let's create another part here where we're going to put the GIFs. This is going to be an array, empty array. Now here, as we do this, we're going to set the state. This is that set state. Let's put our GIFs into the state. We saw that is a data property. So this GIFs is equal rest.data. And that rest of data was what we were seeing here. So there is another one, data, because as we saw earlier, let's try it out here. See, there's the data, pagination, meta. You can forget about the pagination or the meta. We just needed the data. The data has an array. So yeah, so here right now, we're setting that array of GIFs to our GIFs array. Let's console log here in case there's an error. And so let's see if this is working. I type in here cheese, and our state should have been set. So we go here, boom. We got some GIFs here. Search term and GIFs. Now what we're going to need to do, a very common pattern in React, loop over this array of results, array of objects, and create some visual for the user. We can do that here. So we need to loop. So we're going to write some JavaScript. I'm going to remove this now. For writing some JavaScript inside of JSX. We need curly brackets, and then we're going to do, so from the state, we also need the GIFs. Do GIFs that map for every GIF. What we need to do is, we said create a link. So let's see. I'm going to create. Let's create a div first, and then we can think of the link. So I'm going to create a div. For now, let's say I want to show the image and the title underneath. So I'm going to do image, src, equal, oh, I'm forgetting here, return, oh wait, yeah, yeah, cool. Now the source is gonna be, as we said, GIF that images that preview GIF, if I remember correctly. I think that URL, because preview GIF is an object on itself as well. This is the importance of remembering our responses. If we go here, below, we get the GIFs. Now here we have, say for the first one, excuse me, we have images, we have preview GIF, we add URL. This is the URL that we're going to use. Cool. So, and we also said, let's do a p tag with the title GIF. The title is just GIF.title. Cool, so let's see. We should see something. Hello? Cool. We got a list of results. Great. Now we just need to make these clickable so that it takes us to the other page where we can actually see big and upvote or downvote. This is cool. Okay, so for making it clickable, we're actually going to use a link. It's not a button. Where you want to redirect the user to a different page. Now, I think instead of this div, let's just do link here, import it automatically. There it is. If it didn't auto import for you, you need to write this line. Link. Here also link. And we're gonna need to say link to. We said this URL is gonna be to /gif/ the GIF ID. Let's try it here. I forgot. If we have an ID, I think we have an ID. GIFs ID. Cool. So this will be GIF.ID. That. Let's try it one more time. Hello. Okay, now all of them are links now. You see the underline and the particular blue for links. Now when I click one, I should be taken to a different page, to a GIF page. So let's try that out. Cool. So we were taken to /gif/.gif ID. And we are on a different page. Okay. So we have a search that works. Cheese. Spell cheese. We have our cheeseburgers. So let's say we wanted to see this one bigger and upvote it or downvote it. So when I click on there, I want to see that bigger div. So in here, we're gonna use another endpoint in the API. Let's go back to docs. API endpoint. We're gonna use getGIF_by_ID endpoint. So as we can see here, the URL will be the same. Actually, /gifs. Previous one, I think is /search. Yeah, like this. Oh, I see. It's actually /gifs, but we're not gonna have this search in here. We just do /GIF ID, and we also need the API key. That we always need. Okay. Now there's one way in which we could do this without having to do that extra network request. Because if we think about it, we have the complete information for a GIF once we search for it here. If we go to home, the state, we see this is all the information that we need about a GIF, this right here. Now, on that next network, we're just gonna get, instead of an array, we're just gonna get one in particular, one results, because we're now getting byte ID, but it's gonna be this exact same. Now here, let's practice network requests. Also, because if we want to sort of just take it from here and pass this somehow through props to the single GIF component, will end up that the list of GIFs here will actually not build links. We'll need to sort of fake it and say, when you click on this, we keep track of that. That's the one you clicked. That's the one you clicked, and then pass that to the other component. So there's more limitations if we wanted to sort of do it just with one network request, since we already have the information. Anyway, what we're gonna do is, when I click on one of these, we see we get redirected to this route. Now from here, we're gonna take the ID via the route props that will give us access to whatever ID specified. Actually, if we go here, you can see it already. Match params ID. See, we have this ID. This is where we're gonna get this ID from. And this is passed, these props that are being passed to GIF are being passed by the route. And these other components that are the parent of the GIF component. So let's do that then. I think we're done with the home. Now let's go to GIF. So this one says we're actually going to keep track of upvotes or downvotes. We're actually going to need this to be a class. So let's do class GIF extends React. Oh, this is the structure right here. Component extends component. This is now going to be our render. Let's close the class here. Boom. Now let's have constructor, our super, our state. Now on this state, we're going to keep, we're not going to persist this information, the downvotes and downvotes. As we change to a different GIF, the previous outvotes or downvotes are going to be removed. So let's see, how should we do that? I think we do so outvotes, start at 0, and same for downvotes. Now we're gonna have to offer two buttons, downvotes and upvotes. Well, I guess I'm thinking about the downvotes. Should we subtract the downvotes from the upvotes? I think that will be up to us. For now, actually, let's just show both. How many times it has been liked and disliked, kind of the same thing. Now for this H1, let's do a GIF for now. Now, as this component is receiving the ID in the params in the URL, what this component is going to need to do first is to make the network request to get that particular GIF. So for that, let's use a component lifecycle method called component denote soon as the component mounts, we're going to make a network request to get that specific GIF. For this, we're going to need Axios, import Axios, from Axios, from keep this button. And here, let's do try. Oh, this is going to be try catch. This is going to be async. Now note that here, when is a component lifecycle method and is async, we put the async here at the front. We have an example here in the home where we have this handle submit, which is written in ES6 format, and we put the async here. That's just sort of a sign. Just that component methods like component demand and render, they are written in this way, the ES5 looking way. Now, here same thing. Let's do res equal wait axios dot get, and we're gonna need a URL here. Let's do const URL. Same thing. I've do the params as well. Oh, we're gonna need our API key. Import API key from folder secrets. In our params is gonna be the same thing. Question mark API key equal our API key. Do we need a queue here? No, because this is not for search. No, I think that's the only one. And we said the URL is going to be https:// Let's go back here. This. And we need to plug in the GIF ID like that. So here, we're going to need, so the GIF ID, we can leave it like this. Actually, let's just do ID. Now this ID, we need to get from the route props that are being passed into this component. Remember that I showed you here? Let me say this. ID is not defined. But we're gonna need, this ID is gonna come, from here. This is a GIF. These are the props being passed to the GIF. And we can just access them through this prop, because we can do these props that match that params that ID. That's where this ID is going to come. So let's do this structure right here. This ID that is coming from these props that match that params. There's that props that match that params, and then ID being this structure there. See, okay. We got something. I think at this point we're actually making the network request. We're just not seeing the console log that response. So it's console log. That's that data. And it's also console log here. If there's an error. Let's see. I think we should be seeing a console log. We say error request failed with status 401. I think 401 means not authorized. I don't remember. So the HTTP status code. I think 401. 401. Unauthorized. So what that means is probably, oh, a problem with our API key. We forgot to include it here. So here, we also need to include our, we could do this in one. Let's do this directly here. I'm gonna get rid of this, like that. Copy that, and paste it here. And let's get rid of this variable. Then see if our net request succeeds. Cool. So we still have this ID, which I don't remember for what GIF that is. But we get a response here as soon as the component mounts, and we have some GIF. I don't know which one it is. Let's look it up. Copy this. Remove the quotes around it, and this is this GIF. Cool. Okay. Now that's the GIF that we want to show big here. So we need to save this to the state. Again, that pattern of making an error request, setting the state with the results of that. Cool. So let's do it here. Set the state. That's set state. Let's call this GIF. This is going to be res.data. So again, this is already res.data. Res.data is an object with two keys, data and meta. So let's see now. Let's get a response log. We just start here with optimal. Yeah, let's see. Let's do low. So we got that. Let's click on this one. We should address this in a little bit. Let's see if our state was set. Components, GIF, state GIF. Yeah, so we got a GIF here. Cool, so we have our title and we have our images. So this is what we're going to show. Now, here we do, as soon as the component mounts, we make the network request to get that specific GIF. As that network request succeeds, we set it to the state that's going to cause a re-render. And on the second time that it re-renders, we actually want to show it. So do image, src, same thing that we did before. Let's destructure the GIF here. Const GIF is that state. Now here we do GIF that we said images, and we said so this image is to pick from. Also, a quick note here is that all of these are the same GIF, it's just sort of different formats. So, for instance, there's one that is still, where the image doesn't move. There is some that is actually a video, an MP4 video. If we were to use that one, we will need to have like a player. But what we're gonna do is, let's see, I think it's just original, and then this URL. So, no images, original, that URL. Let's do maybe an alt. We'll have to put an alt on the other one. Moving GIF. I don't know if that will be redundant. Let's try this out. Oops, seems that way broke. Cannot read property images of null. And this error then should make sense. The problem is, remember that the component first renders, and then after that, component in mount is called. Then component in mount is making that error request that's going to take some time. And then after that succeeds, we get a GIF in the state. but we don't start off with a GIF. So this is saying the first time GIF is going to be null, is this guy. Images is null, or null doesn't have a property, it's not an object. So what we could do here, let's say, to do something like, if we don't have the GIF yet, let's return something like div that says loading. Right. Else, let's return the rest. See that just fixes the error. It just happens too fast. Let's go home again. Hello. Yeah, it just happens too fast, but it happens too fast. We don't even see this one, but it's happening. This is preventing our code from breaking. If we slow down the network, we'll see it, but I don't want to do that right now. Now let's look at our console. We should try to get rid of as much errors and warnings as possible here. Cool. So this one is working. I search for cheeseburger. Let's look at this one. We got the bigger version. Here is this, we're gonna do the likes or unlikes, number of likes, number of dislikes, upvotes and downvotes, whatever you want to call it. Now, let's address some of this first. So this one, warning: each child on a list should have a unique key prop. Is talking about here, home. When we're doing the mapping, the thing that we're returning here, this needs a key. It needs to be something that uniquely identifies that item. I'll encourage you to learn more about in the React documentations as to why you need a key. This key is so that React keeps track of the elements. If we were to remove a link from this list, let's say for whatever reason, React will need a way to uniquely identify it. So here, let's just do GIF that ID that uniquely identifies a link. You go to home. We no longer get that error. Then was this images must always have an alt prop. And emojis should be wrapped in a span and have a raw images. Let's do this too. So the image should always have an alt. So for the alt here, let's use the GIF title. So that should fix the other one. Bob. Oh, I remember this Bob, the builder. And Rose Bob, this good. Now the last one is this one. Emoji should be right in a span. That's in about. That's where we had this emoji. Span. Goal. ing. Maybe now. This we can ignore. A cookie associated with a cross-site resource was site without the same site attribute. We only deliver cookies with cross-site. This is just because the Giphy API is depositing now a cookie in our website, and Chrome doesn't like that. And sometimes you don't like that either, because that's just to sort of track the user. Cool. Okay, so we have that. Now going back to our GIF, let's actually do the upvotes and downvotes, and that's it. So for that, we're gonna do just two buttons. Button. Let's say, can we do like an emoji here? Maybe the up arrow. This one. If you don't know how to do like insert emojis like that, I think it's Control, Command, Spacebar. Oh, this is in Mac. I don't know in Windows or Linux how it will be. Control, Command, Spacebar. This is the up button. Let's do for down button. Down. Cool. We have two buttons there. Car. Cool. Let's say when we click this, we just want a number to go up, another one to go down. It could be the same number, it could be different numbers. Let's see. I think here I'm gonna do like up votes. Go to that's gonna come from the state. Up votes. Also down votes. Up votes. And the button next to it. Down votes. Down votes. See? Yeah, it's fine. Let's say we want this 500 so that it's a simple line. Yeah, something very simple. Let's also run this one. These buttons don't work yet. Let's just do here handle up vote. Set state. Oh, so let's access the upvotes first. Outvotes. Is that state? And then is that set state? Here we're actually doing something risky, which is reading the state and setting the state immediately after. So I'm going to set the outvotes equal to upvotes plus 1. Same one for downvote. Now, this is going to be down. And this then will be passed to the buttons as on click. Click. Use that in the output. Let's copy this. Here. And handle down. Separate this here. And maybe it will work. Oh, it doesn't work. So let's debug this. No, this is also wait, what? We put the emoji in this pen with area label or area label Y. Oh, I guess we're gonna need that too. Oh, GIF. I guess using GIFs, it's giving us all these warnings. And this is for accessibility. This is actually good. We should follow those. Let's get the buttons to work. Oh, maybe the download works. Oh yeah, the download works. That's because I removed them from here. Let's copy this and paste it here. But this one is out. Go that many upvotes. Cool. This is pretty much this is the review. Let's get rid of this. I'll leave it right there. Arial label. I haven't looked deeply into what that means. I know that it's accessibility. So that means here, that even here. So let's just do that. Oh, no, this one. Spin. Roll. Image. Arial. Label. Stay up. Arrow. And let's do the same for this one. Roll. G. Label. Down. Let's see if got rid of that. Hello. These are the cookie ones. Yes, got rid of the those ones. And the last thing is in the about page. So we also need an area label. Right. So we need to take out no more unknown warnings. So this is it. Making our requests. The review was making our requests in React, accessing parameters from a route, like in this case, by GIF being a component that is rendered inside of a route, as we can see here in app.js. Oh, this one. GIF has access to whatever we receive here as ID. In this dot props that match dot prop dot ID. And that's pretty much it. We did an app bar with some links to these routes. We have multiple routes, as well as some upvoting or downvoting function, like that. Cool, so that concludes it. I hope you like it, and I hope it's helpful for you as the assessment is approaching. Till the next time.